Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Zwift Racing League presented by WTRL. And we are in for the finale of the season. It's playoffs day. There was a team time trial that happened on Tuesday to set things up about who is the best of the best amongst team time trialing. And now the points race out on a very awesome course, actually, in my opinion, the Legends and Lava course that takes on a little bit of everything when it comes to racing, when it would come to a points race. Dave, I'm excited for today, and I think there's a lot of people that are showing up today trying to grab those coveted in-game icons that are the Zwift Racing League champions, special helmets that you're able to grab in-game. Now, I'm wondering, I'm not positive for doing helmets again, but there's going to get something in-game that's going to say these are the champions of this season.
I hope they do the helmets, to tell you the truth. I thought that was absolutely awesome to be able to pick out riders, and it's in all of the different divisions. So, yeah, to set the table for you here, it's been a long season, 8 regular season races. Nathan just mentioned we had Tuesday's team's time trial. We'll take a look at those results because they're going to be critical. It's equally weighted against today's points race, and this is the classic ZRL points race format. We've got fastest through segments out here today as well as first across the line, so there is a bevy of points available out here. And then we have a couple different tables that you transfer through. So we'll take the points that you earn in race, and then we'll add them all up amongst your team. And then we'll look at that and see how it compares and contrasts against the other teams. And by the time this one is all done and dusted today, we'll be able to sort out in all of our different divisions who the real champions are. And as Nathan said, hopefully they'll get that super cool white ZRL helmet. Now, these riders have all qualified based on their regular season performances from around the globe in all of our different ZRL divisions. You go from the APACs, they start out our day down under. Actually, not necessarily down under, but a lot of the riders are. And then we move across the globe, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. massive numbers, incredible amount of talent there. And then, Nathan, we always have the coverage. We just love doing the coverage for America's East and West, which might not have the numbers, but they're plucky and they're really going to be looking to get stuck in out here today. So we're going to jump in. It's a quick race, 25K. Nathan, you say you love the course. Why is that? What about this? What really turns your cranks?
Well, let's actually chat with Anna Russell to give an idea. She is jumping out on course, and she's going to give us an idea of what is cool about this course and what you can do on it in these playoffs.
Hey everyone, Anna here. It is playoffs time, race number 2. This is coming to you in the pens. Bit of an exciting one today. It's Legends of Lava course. Now, I'm not going to talk about the sprint. I'm not going to talk about the climbs. I'm actually going to talk about 2 portions of the course, the rolling terrain. One is the Titans Grove rollers, and then the other one is the S's after you do the sprint before you head into the volcano. These are 2 kind of tricky parts of the course. When you look at my whiteboard analysis, it's really how you approach these so you can save as much energy in those legs without burning by yo-yoing too much up into the climb and then falling back on the downhill, or vice versa, depending on your sort of body type and the way you ride. Now, a really good way to approach these is to think about cresting the hill with a little bit of power, maybe even get up out of the saddle just to get over and use the momentum on the down. What can happen is if you start the climb a bit quick but sort of fade a little just on the rollers, the bunch will catch you up and then pass you down with momentum, and then you'll find that you're sprinting to get back on after the pack has gone past, and then that sprint leads into the next climb, and again you sort of yo-yo back and forward, and it makes it really, really tricky, and you sap a lot of energy. Trust me, I've done this before. The other thing you just want to check, and maybe this is something going forward if you find you're yo-yoing a lot, is to look at your Bluetooth or Ant Plus connection. Some of us will find we have about a 2-second delay between what we're doing on the trainer versus what's happening in game. Now, this doesn't really matter on courses that are flat, but it does really matter on these rolling parts like this Titans Grove and the S's. So maybe check that out. If you're finding you're dropping off a little bit, maybe get a Bluetooth extender, chuck it close to the trainer, make sure that connection is really strong. Same with the Ant Plus. Just check those connections, make sure they're good. That's a little tip from In the Pens. Good luck. Have a great playoff. Good luck to all the teams out there. Have an awesome race.
Well, Anna Russell always knowing exactly what she's talking about, Dave, it seems like. And the insider tips, you got to love them. I mean, who would have thought of this making sure the connections are exactly what you need? Coming from a gaming background, that makes a lot of sense to me. I'm always plugging in all of my devices when it comes to making sure I'm getting the quickest response from my devices as I possibly can when it comes to gaming, and making sure that you're getting those quick responses through each one of these terrain sections is going to be extremely important, I would think, as well. As Anna does make her way to the front on one of these sections she's talking about, where the rollers come on in. They are on the Titans reverse climb right now. This will have only a first across the line, I believe. I'm just going to double check this, and it is only going to be first across the line for this
FTS
segment. Yeah, no FTS here on this one.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Again, you can see this is Anna Russell racing down in New Zealand, who is certainly someone who's become a real expert, and passing on these tips has become a lot of fun to listen to how Anna breaks it down. So this group together right now, it's going to be a pretty quick day in the saddle, to tell you the truth, Nathan. It's been a long season, as I said, so I think it makes sense to get right down to brass tacks out here. I expect it to be aggressive, and certainly that last 3K, that's going to be a slugfest, isn't it? As you look, it's almost entirely climbing on the way to the line. It's not severe, but it's enough that the riders will have something to work with here. They're going to be digging extremely deep. So this is the group. It looks small because it is relatively small. I mean, this is the cream of the crop. We've skimmed off the very best from all of our divisions. So it's nice to see this. I mean, some big question marks, Nathan, I have to think, in riders' minds about just how strong is this Roca Corba team, right? If you're the Riot Squad, let's look at it from their perspective. Or how about Canyon Beta, as I see Angela Fliss, the Polish rider, moving up to the front right now. They also have put together a tremendous season. But I think, Nathan, that's fair to say about every team here. If you're in this group, you're already in that elite group of ZRL, WTRL riders. And that goes for everybody in our A's, B's, C's, and D's. And that's really part of the secret sauce of racing in the ZRL, is that we have races for everyone. So Canyon, Riot, Roca Corba. These are the big, big names, Nathan. No doubt about it. One team I'm really excited for is electricspirit.co. Let's see what they can do out here. Alexi Snover has been a fantastic talent this year. I have a feeling she's going to do some damage today, Nathan.
Real quickly, let's take a look at the standings. Oh, that's not the right report, actually. But let's take a look here at the standings as soon as we possibly can as we get the right sizing on them. But they were hammering all season long to get to where they are right now. But then they had to prove it on Tuesday when it comes to the playoffs. So all those points building up, well, that's not going to matter. It's going to matter what you were able to throw down this past Tuesday for a team time trial. And as you can see, Riot have shown up and proven themselves to be, I was wondering if this would happen because, Riot racing out of the Americas, there is kind of in cycling this idea that you have a lot stronger culture cycling perhaps in other places, more development in other places in the world when it comes to cycling. But this America's racing scene has shown up and is at the top of the board right now. Good on them. I mean, maybe it's because they do have a New Zealander kind of leading the charge of it there. But now
it doesn't hurt.
Mention Electric Spirit CO there, though, too, and Roca Corba. They're right on the heels of this race as well.
Yeah. Nathan, I completely agree with what you're saying. America doesn't have the same history with cycling as you see in Europe, that's for sure. But these days, right now, it's exciting because of opportunity. And we've talked about that with Zwift and in women's racing and how this platform has allowed us to identify talent and ambition. Talent and ambition. Those are really, really key words out here. And Nathan, they're stretching this out. I'm going to turn my attention to the front of this bike race right now because this is going to be a big, big moment here. We've got some points on offer, and it looks like a surge is happening. That's going to be Megan Rathwell's one of the riders hitting out. But how about this is Vanderplas of the aforementioned Canyon Beta team is putting them in the hurt box right now. And Nathan, this is blowing the field up. Big, big moment going on right here. We'll start scoring points from 10 on down. 10 points for the first rider over the line. 9, 8, 7, down to 1 for the 10th. It's going to be interesting, but that's a big play from Canyon Esports to start things off here because, Nathan, I think they picked up the Lionesses' share of points there.
Yeah, nice little move there coming from Canyon, actually. A little bit surprised, to be honest, by that move. And now we've got Fleece with Grossman off the front a little bit. And it's really, in the playoffs here, I'm a little surprised to see what's happening right now. Look at this, Dave. There is a break kind of forming, or at least a main peloton with a lot of people falling off the back now. Smith from Socks for Watts, Electric Spirit Company here. Dockers is off the back. It's a 2-second up, and Leah Thorvaldsen almost caught out. Not a rider you would expect that from at all. Obviously, this pace has been insane so far.
Yeah, this looks like the freshman class at a university. Not everybody's going to make it through the first semester. And
even using an aero power up, Dave. Like, that's how under the pressure that this rider must feel right now to be using an aero power up at this point with still the Julian Washington Bridge coming up. I mean, come on.
Yeah. One of the strongest riders and the most experienced riders in esports, and I would certainly be happy to be on her wheel right now because I have a feeling they're going to get back in Socks for Watts. It's going to throw a little more resources at it, but what a moment. You would not have expected to see this 6.3K into a 25K race. This is a little bit shorter duration-wise than what the riders have become used to. Not a lot, but just a little. These riders, I think, Nathan, are going to get back into the group, but that was living life in the balance there for a moment. For a few seconds there, it looked like they might have been in real trouble.
Take a look at how that all went down here. It was Vanderplas there with an early move. Let's see if I can back this up just a tad and see where she actually went for it, because it'll be really interesting to see the setup here. I feel like everybody was being really, really patient for this sprint, honestly, and maybe a little too much patience from some of the teams here
uphill
as
sprint.
Canyon. Look at this. Nice little jump here. And it was Electric Spirit trying to maybe hold position. Overtaken, though, as you can see. Fleece coming on through. It's going to be Grossman, obviously the big sprinter from Riot, able to come through and snatch, I think, those points for second. But Vanderplas just kind of walked away from everybody.
Yeah, Mikey van der Plas, the Dutch rider here, she's been one of the strongest riders all season long. Alexei Snover did hold on for fourth there in the orange jersey for electricspirit.co. And Christina Grossman being up there, that's certainly one of the key players that we've got in the ZRL right now when you talk about New York City's Grossman. This is back to the live action here as we're in with the front group right now. Evelyn Gagnon there, see her tucked into the group. She's going to be part of the conversation in a few minutes, I have a feeling, as this is just full tilt boogie out here today, Nathan, as our women's peloton braces themselves because there's going to be another surge coming. I expect Sox for Watch to try to position themselves a little bit better this time.
Yeah, and, looking at the course out here today, they're going to make their way down toward Ocean Boulevard in just a moment. And then after they hit Ocean Boulevard, there's actually a little bit of a punch of a climb right in the face. It doesn't have any points on it, but they will be taking on the forward KOM and then making their way on over to the forward sprint for some points on the Julian Washington Bridge. That does have fastest through segment, which has a ton of points up for offer. So I think a lot of these riders, this is going to be a lot of ebb and flow. I think when it comes to this course, you'll have these moments that are just extremely intense, like we just saw from that Titans Grove reverse, followed up by these lulls waiting for those key moments. Now, Dave, do you think that anybody's going to the forward KOM is just enough climbing, just enough of a punch, and it's just steep enough that somebody who really wants to give it a go, when you have a whittled down pack like this, you can get a couple off the front if they've got an amazing 1.5 minute kick or so.
Yeah, and that's what it would take. I just think there's enough depth in this field that we're not going to quite see one rider being able to do the damage. When you look at it back through the season, we've had some standout riders, but I think, Nathan, the real story has been the depth that each one of our divisions has had. These teams did not have an easy path to get up here. So, there's a lot of high quality, high caliber racers out here. I even look, this is nice to see ATP. I want to be able to try to touch on every team out here. ATP has a standout in Katie Candeloro. I'm a big fan of her. Stephanie Clark on this squad, Elka Strothstein, and Amy Blake along with Allie B on that squad. This is Leah Thorbalson that we're back in with now. Leah Thorbalson was the first ever Zwift Academy winner, going back, was that 4 years ago now, Nathan? Maybe even 5 at this point.
Even 5. That was, yeah.
Right.
And amazing job by her. I remember the announcement of that and the competition for that. One of the coolest first competitions we've ever seen amongst the Zwift community.
Agreed.
And now
still
obviously a mainstay, as you can see.
Yeah.
Now, we're on Vanderplas now here because she just racked up a solid 60 points for the Canyon team.
Holy cow.
Grossman
wow.
there with 48. Fleece there with 36. And they really got to pull something off out here today. And they're showing up to do so. Good on Canyon here. Interesting that the TTT they may have struggled in, because if we look at the standings at 17 points, so they're going to need a lot on the day, separating them from Riot. And Riot maybe knowing, I wonder if Riot know that perhaps they might not be the strongest in this specific format, but knowing that they just need to follow and make sure that they limit their damages in order to hold on to that top spot. Can Canyon pull it off today? They're really doing an amazing job, but they also need a little bit of help from some of these other teams. And Electric Spirit, the orange isn't really there. Sox or Watts, it's going to really, these next 2 sprint points are going to tell a lot of the story still.
If I was directing a team like Canyon, I would say let's just focus on doing our best race for today and let the chips fall where they may as far as with what happened on Tuesday in the team time trial. Because, Nathan, to be honest with you, I don't really see too many ways to take Riot out of the top spot here. They're such a well-rounded team. They don't have a weak link, to tell you the truth. So I realize anything can happen, but I think for today, this is really going to be the points race championship. Team time trialing and points racing are decidedly different disciplines in real life and in Zwift racing. So I really feel that today it's going to be much more about just getting back to some good old-fashioned, let's call it old school fury out here. And I know that Micah van der Plas here is one of the riders that is looking to ride for her team, but I think she also would like to put her wheel over that finish line first today, as would Angela Fleece on the Canyon Beta team. There's so many talented riders. I think this is just going to turn into an old school throwdown out here. And one of the last things in the world I would want to do is go to the line with a rider like Van der Plas or Grossman or Fleece or Alexei Snover. Anna Russell up there as well. As we look at the points here, so very quickly, if you haven't been with us throughout the season, this is our 10th race. It's always about, if it's in a points race format, the first across the line or fastest through segment. FAL is your standard sprint points. We say 10 for the first rider, 9 for second. We work our way down. Fastest through segment is a little bit different, and both of these things are what makes Premier League and community different, and the community loves having all of these points out here. It's really one of the things that WTRL brings to the table, is just keeping it spicy.
Yeah, 100%. Now, quickly here, I just want to highlight that the men's race will be kicking off in about 13 minutes. We'll jump in with them, and we'll have some side-by-side action coming at you through the broadcast here and following along, of course, for the total of the men's race. We will jump across the points for each of the as well as results for each of the categories as they come on in as well. So everybody, I know a lot of you are probably wondering, oh, what about all the other categories? We'll definitely be shouting out to them, as well as making sure that we are following along as how that's playing out live here, as we do get a little bit of downtime in the action. But 12:40 to go for the men's race in just a few moments here. Now the ladies here heading toward the second half of their Ocean Boulevard and going to be heading on over toward the climb here in just a moment, as they went underneath the Jarvis tree. That old shout out. I wonder how many in the community that watch the broadcast know what's up with that tree. We haven't talked about that in quite a while in some of the broadcasts, actually. And we know we have a lot of newer viewers. Anybody in chat able to know where that tree came from and where it was transplanted from? Well, at least a lot in the community think it was transplanted from somewhere.
You mean like somewhere like from Winnie the Pooh or something like that?
No, that a place that's inaccessible in the fantasy worlds of Zwift at this point. So that's where that tree came from.
I'm not sure I follow you. So the question is, where did that tree come from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called the Jarvis tree. Because there was a
Jarvis
tree.
the bear, right? That's where.
No, it's actually, so the original island that was the original beta island was called Jarvis.
Gotcha.
And there's a tree that you rode through on Jarvis that was transplanted. Actually, well, at least it seems like it was transplanted over to here, right. And it's a shout. And one of the first expansions was Ocean. It was the first expansion, Ocean Boulevard, for the flat route. And from there, people were like, "Oh, there's the tree." Those who were on the original beta from the Jarvis tree, so that's why it's called the Jarvis tree. For those that don't know your Zwift history, yeah. Anyways,
well, and I'm going to guess. I mean, how many people were on beta? How many people would have actually
That's a good question. I wonder how many were. Huh.
I mean, it's not 500, or is it 500 people that would have? I mean, if you just threw a number out.
My user number is 3002, so.
Okay, so it's more than 3,000.
Yeah, there's more than 3,000.
Right.
Yeah, at least probably 10,000. I would think, maybe 10,000.
So yeah, I mean, we're kind of going back to the roots of this, where things all started here in the middle part of the races. They are just through the middle here for the women, as it's 25K of racing. But what Nathan's talking about, it sounds like a long time ago, but it's really just 7 years ago that this all really got going. Esports has been on a fast track. There's no doubt about it. We just had our World Championships, and we've been racing in this format. This is the 5th season, even though we call it season 2. This is season 2 of the second block. We call it the 2021-2022 season. So we break it into 3 seasons in a segment, I guess you would say, 3 pieces per pie, I guess. And this is, again, now the women that we've got in the final race of season 2 here. They did 8 regular season races. A few of them were team time trials, as they just did one on Tuesday. These women are all the top riders from their division, or the top team from their division that have made it here. I see the very familiar Riot jersey. Riot, Nathan, I was thinking to myself, two things, Nathan. First, who is my rider of the year, or rider of the season, I should say? And maybe I'll put that on the back burner for a second, because I certainly say my greatest community team of all time, I think I have to look at Riot for that.
Whew, that is like a pretty huge claim there that Riot is getting there, especially coming from Dave Toll here at this point. I mean, Riot, the all time. And it's starting to wear off on me a little bit, to be honest, Dave, that call there, because there are some teams, that go way, way back. I mean, the KISS Racing team,
so I'm saying it's ZRL too.
Oh, ZRL. Okay, so this is ZRL only. Okay, not all time, like
our
all
5
Zwift
seasons
racing history.
Yes,
because
yes.
I mean,
that's not fair. You have more knowledge than or not fair, but I mean, I can't even speak to that because I don't have the knowledge. I'm going to be honest. You were there for that division, the KISS, the dirt, yeah, I mean, it's certainly, Nathan.
I do think there's another jersey in here and it's kind of fun to me that Vanderplas has kind of set the stage here in that first sprint, because for me, the Coalition and Canyon and what they've been up to in esports, and especially with their new Higher Power episodes that are coming out there from the Canyon Esports YouTube. If you haven't checked that out, that first episode was awesome. I'm looking forward to more of those.
Great.
They set a tone, but then Riot did kind of show up and have set this whole new standard, in my opinion. And I think there's a lot of people who are going, "Oof, what are we up to here?" So,
look at it's really a great example, Nathan. Sorry to step on you there. The quality of the individuals on that team. You've got a bunch of these women that are super smart and really professional and bring a lot, not just legs and lungs, but some brain power to this team. Look how organized they are. I always, it's nice. We're celebrating all of these teams today. I had a chance to talk about, we'll talk about Roca in a minute, but right now, I love the fact that Christina Grossman, who works in the music industry, makes a playlist for the team every week, right? That is themed to where the racing is happening. You've got Anna Russell. Obviously, you saw Anna doing some of our video elements that we're adding into the broadcast. Anna is a commentator. She's a professional triathlete, and I think one of the smartest people that I've ever met, to tell you the truth. She's on this team. And it just goes on and on with the different things that these ladies bring to the table. And that's true with all of these squads out here. Claire Cameron, right? She's a coach, I believe, on that Riot team. Now, looking at Roca Corba, Nathan, I think that they were the most exciting team that we brought into the league this year, to tell you the truth. This is the team led by Ashley Moom and Pasio, the former esports world champion, South African, who's also, in real life, one of the top 10 world tour riders out there, I would say. A real animator.
So setup happening here, Dave. Setup. And this is really where they're going to start looking at each other. And I wonder if anybody's going to give it a little bit of go, because you come on that downhill off of Ocean Boulevard into this sprint here. We are heading into the Julian Washington sprint here right now. And, well, wow, they are really biding their time. No lead out at all. This is going to be all about the kick is what's going to happen here, Dave. And I have a feeling that, again, Canyon, coming from the back of the pack right now, is trying to roll through. No, it's going to actually be Snover again, leading things out. It's going to be Roca Corba on the wheel there with that aero power up. And now here comes another kick here from Electric Spirit. Loker coming on through and dominating this sprint. It's the women in orange holding on to the line. Canyon, like a Canyon for third, and it's Fleece in for second, though. Nice job from Electric Spirit, that CO. And where was Riot? Now,
Riot got Grossman up there for fourth, I think. But yeah, and that was interesting, wasn't it?
Roca Corba.
Got to give Electric Spirit some.
And Canyon. It might be. We were talking about this earlier, Dave, that the reality of having to put a couple of teams between Riot and Canyon in order for them to bump themselves up, all these teams obviously are trying to bump themselves up. Electric Spirit want to win this whole thing, and they might have fastest through segment there as well. So we'll have to wait and see what the points have to say after that one, because we're going to have a whole new story on our hands perhaps in just a few moments.
So in a couple K here, the real climbing is going to start. I think it's fair to say right around 21K. We're going to shift gears out here. Nathan, let's really quickly go back and take a look at the standings now. So this is the 10th race of the season, but really it's the second race of our playoffs now, as we've brought the top teams from around the world into the mix here. And so when you look at it now, obviously Riot picks up 20 points, which is how our table works with the top team and the team's time trial on Tuesday. So you not only have to beat them, you're going to need some help, to tell you the truth, if you're coming from anywhere but second place after Tuesday's race. So it's a big ask, that's for sure. But that's the great thing about bike racing, is you've got to have the ability to dream to be successful out here as well. Watch out for Sammy Stewart there, the Beta Canyon Riders. I get a feeling for this finale, we're going to be hearing her name coming to the fore. All right, here we go, Nathan. We're going to be entering the finale. Enter the Thunderdome out here now as these women get ready. There's a big group together, to tell you the truth, and it speaks again to the depth and the quality that we've got in the ZRL. It's going to be a throwdown of royal proportions here.
100%, and I am getting a lot of hype here coming on through for Katie Loker as she went a little crazy.
The Electric Spirit Rider.
Yeah, the Electric Spirit Rider here. And Kevin Newman's in the chat letting us know that there's a lot of hype here for the Katie fan club assembling as she went off the front for electricspirit.co. Big numbers being thrown down, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for them, because they were one of the picks actually for a breakthrough team this season. They definitely have been. You know, I've mentioned them plenty of times in the broadcast past couple of weeks, just saying they, in this last year, they started as a team. I said this a couple of weeks ago, but I'll say it again, that they started as a team that were more of a development team. I felt like they were doing it a little bit more for the camaraderie and the fitness. And racing was a part of it. And then all of a sudden, this last season, it was like, we're in the playoffs. It got super serious. Now they're showing up with this A team. Great to see.
No, I completely agree. It really did seem like a club set up, just some folks having some fun, getting together, and man, they elevated their game. That's the team in orange that we're talking about as we take a look at them having a fantastic ride out here today. I love this group. Such a strong spirit, for lack of a better term. This is going to be Osterby, who's having a fantastic day. The Roca Corba rider we were talking about, that's the team, I would, in a way, that say has some African roots, to tell you the truth. A lot of South Africans on that team. What's really impressing me, Nathan, as we come up on 5K to go, is how big this group is. With all of the brutal sprinting they've been doing in the fastest through segments, there's quite a few riders with their heads above water here. Today's course is known as Legends and Lava, and it's not disappointing on either end.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight, I did make a mistake, actually. I was looking at the course map prior, and for some reason I had this feeling they took a right up and over the top of the forward KOM. Completely incorrect, and I was surprised that they wouldn't use it for points if they did. So obviously they took a left underneath the Jarvis tree, and when I noticed that, I was like, oh. So just heads up, there is obviously no forward KOM on this, but they're about to take on a KOM. Speaking of KOMs on the volcano in just a moment. This is going to be an interesting climb, Dave, because essentially it's a 7-minute all-out effort. It's a little bit over what you can handle for a VO2 max. So you kind of have to, there's kind of two parts to the climb. The initial kick, and then this kind of lull in the middle when they hit that flatter section, and then it's kind of an all-out sprint to the top at the end of the race.
Yeah, that's really well put, Nathan. You have to have the ability to gauge your effort here. It's not just throwing down. It's a lot more complicated than that. And that's the element, the brain power required. And these ladies know they're up against it here as we take a look at the pace starting to lift a little bit. When you look at the shape of the peloton, you get the feeling that everybody realizes exactly what Nathan was saying, that it's about to get real out here. So the last, let's call it 8 minutes of racing for the women this season, inside of 10 minutes of racing for season 2. What a season it's been, ladies. And now it's ready to take off the gloves, as this one's going to turn into a Donnybrook out here. We were half an hour of racing in. Nathan. So all we've done is soften the legs up a little bit here. But this is it. Time to prove yourself out here. Who is the strongest team in the ZRL? Can Riot win both days? Or do we see someone upset that apple cart? Stay tuned.
And as the ladies do start their climb, who's going to be the first ones to go? It does look like, again, because of the nature of the race out here today. Now, Anna Russell given a little bit of a press, which is interesting to see. 5.5 watts per kilogram. I wonder if Riot just want to make it really hard with the riders that they can, and then perhaps set up whoever they can for that final sprint across line. Or are they trying to break this up perhaps because they think they're just the stronger team?
I think they're just trying to keep it as hard as they can. Megan Rathwell and Claire Cameron, along with Evelyn Gagnon, are the riders that I'm going to imagine Riot is going to be looking for in that final couple hundred meters. There's Rathwell, the Canadian, moving up to the front, but I also see that we've got Canyon Beta starting to send their riders up. So clearly we're assembling. This is truly one of those moments here. Only heavy hitters need show up at the front now. If you're not planning on digging deep out here, no reason to even put your nose in the wind, because these ladies are going to light this up.
Wanted to give a quick shout out. The men's race does get out on course here. I did get a message from Carlos Martinez. He's captaining the SDW Skeeters in the WTRL in the Cat C. Now, we can't get the images for the Cat C without taking some big risks here. And being in the playoffs, I don't want to take those risks and changing images at the moment. But I just want to give a big shout out, though,
Go Skeeters.
to that team. Yeah, the Skeeters. And Simon Rowley has a broken arm, and he's riding in a sling in the SDW Skeeters Cat C, actually. So good on him. Great job. He was actually in a sling. I have a picture here. I can't show it at the moment, but he in the TTT with the sling. Pretty cool on them. And these guys are funny. They're sending through these great little tidbits about their team.
Do you want to hear what a Belgian director sportif would say hearing that, Nathan? My joke?
Yeah, of course. Of course, I want to hear it.
What's the problem? You don't pedal with your arm.
Exactly.
It reminds me of a Rasan Bahati joke where he went back to the team car and told the director it was hailing, and he went back to the team car and said, "My face hurts," and the director said, "Who cares? You don't pedal with your face." So it's sort of that mindset. So I guess the bottom line is these athletes are so tough, Nathan, and esports might even be tougher than all. As we look at the ladies coming into the last 2.5K, the guys have got it all laying out in front of them here. The women certainly gave us a great highlight what to look for out here with certain segments of the course. We've got fastest through segments. We've got sprints going on, but in reality here, Nathan, on the women's side of things, this is what it's all about. It's all waiting with the massive points at the finish line. Very, very quickly here, this is how it works in ZRL, brought to you by WTRL. It's a team points-based format. Riders have been collecting points all the way from the start to now, but the most points of all wait at the finish line. And the Lionesses' share are in those top 5 spots. So we've set the table. It's now time to dig in. Get out your fork and knife. And these are the points how they've sorted out now. And this is really important. Canyon has got 2 riders sitting up in the top 5, and that is huge for them. But Riot not that far back, especially when you look at Evelyn Gagnon, is only 2 points behind Fleece. So that's basically deadlocked there. Loker, who's on a phenomenal day today for ElectricSpirit.co, sitting tied there with Angela Fleece of Canyon. You've got ATP Stephanie Clark with 40 points. So you can see, Nathan, that it's all to play for here.
Riot now taking over again at the front. They really seem to be, after they've gone through that first half of this climb now, this is really going to be the crucial points. They got this little bump. It backs off a little bit in the gradient. Then it's going to be a full gas to the top of the climb in just a moment here. And we'll see how this ends up playing out on the course as halfway through, Riot trying to press the pace. Now Sox Watts taking over. There's a lot of points up for grabs at the top of this climb, and this is going to be the question answered about who's going to be your champions, I think, at the top of this volcano. Heating up now, Legends in Lava, and we're about to make some legends in this Season 2 of 2021-22 right now, and it's going to be Canyon Beta with Ukina, the German, off the front, making a gap at 6.7 watts per kilogram. Early attack as she starts to roll at 37 kilometers per hour.
Oh, you have to respect this as Canyon Beta here now has lit the fuse as they're going to be rapidly coming up on 1K to go. It's not that steep now. You saw it actually flattened out, even went downhill for a moment, and now we move into the second phase at 1,200 meters to go. Ukena, the German rider, phenomenal effort here. She's starting to open up this advantage as 2 seconds right now. I think it's going to be more than that quickly as she has gone nuclear at this point as we come up on the red kite, 1K to go. Canyon putting pressure on him here.
Yeah, she's got a gap now, 3 seconds. I don't know if this is coming back, Dave. She is seriously, open it up, 187 now. People are dropping off as they're starting to respond there, and this might be Canyon's day. And the move coming from Ukena, Beta making it happen.
Yeah, this is what it's all about, and her teammates now can sit back in that group and let others chase, but I don't know that they're going to see her again. They're going to rapidly run out of real estate here. So this is Ukena, the German rider here on Canyon Beta, who's having her moment. What a time to stick up your hand and say, I want in, and making a huge, huge mark here. Nathan, look at this now. It's gone to 5, 6, 7 seconds. Riders are holding on by the skin of their teeth now back in that group right here, right now. This is what the ZRL is all about.
Yeah, and Ukena, I don't think she's going to be caught. 4 seconds, just a little bit of a bump, but she's still got 7 watts per kilogram to give, and it looks like she's going to pull this off for Canyon Beta, making it happen all the way to the top. Early attack, and it pays off for them. Huge move from Canyon Beta. Now behind, though, will Rathwell pull it off for Riot? It's going to be Roca Corber going 3rd and 4th, and then Beta for 5th, so Rathwell puts herself in the mix there. But I don't know, is it going to be enough? We'll wait and see on the points at the end of the day, but what a day for both Roca Corba going 3rd and 4th, as well as Canyon Beta, and I think Canyon Beta even put Fleece in there somewhere. I didn't see a lot of Riot riders there at the end.
So it wasn't enough, I don't think, for Riot to win the day, Nathan, but I don't think they went down to 3rd. So I have a feeling that Riot wins the playoffs. That's going to be my guess. That's all just based on raw, feeling here. But because of the work that they did early, I think they had enough points going into that final that Rathwell getting up there in the top 5, I think that was just enough to save the day for the season championship for our entire ZRL, WTRL world. For the women's A's, we just witnessed the last few seconds of racing. Great job to all of our gladiators of esports out there. That was awesome.
You do see the men's race there. They just went over the top of Titans Grove. We will take a look at how it played out, and I do see a lot of people in chat saying BL13, no pins. Oh my God, they killed Kenny. VCRT, Cryo. I mean, this Hexagon as well. I mean, these are some of the teams we've been hyping all season, and I'm so excited to watch them go head-to-head right now. Their first sprint did just play out, and I'm going to play it pretty much in its entirety from the bottom of the banner because it was really interesting how it went down there in the replay. We can see there's a little bit of separation actually, though, on the left-hand side of the screen right now after that first sprint. 2 seconds back, it's going to be Clayton there from Skylabs as well as Loudon. So some big names already fallen off again. Obviously, this first sprint's been really, really difficult. But let's go ahead and take a look at the replay as it played out. The setup was very similar as in the women's race, where it was kind of Grupo Compacto, waiting for the right moment to give a kick in this men's race as they head out on course here for their Legends in Lava. But there was an early go here, Dave, with an attack actually that went just ballistic from, I believe it was Hexagon there going off the front. Let me just make sure. Yeah, the French team was Stempel kind of leading things out, or at least being a carrot to chase.
Hexagon is the French team that we're talking about here. And Cedric Stempel, the rider that opened things up, he's got, so this is going to be one of our fastest through segments and first across the lines, but this is going to be BL13, isn't it? As it's a Justa here, as that yellow jersey has been omnipresent in the front in Europe. Let's see this final surge now, though, as it looks like, is that No Pins? It is. It's going to be Gleason from No Pins R3R, who times this one extremely well. Look at the group now as that strings out. It looks like it's got to be 10 seconds from the head of the snake back to the rattler on its tail. And now that last kick here is Dan Pedrosa, the pride of Austin, Texas here. Oh, my God, they killed Kenny. And Felipe
right to the
Nystrom,
line.
Costa Rican.
I thought
Go
he
ahead,
had it.
Nathan.
I thought Gleason had it like perfectly timed, but no. It looks like it was actually going to be. Is that going to be Cryo RDT that ended up taking it out at the line? Look at the
Top two.
timing there from Cryo. I mean,
Top
right
three.
at the last second.
So
coming
first, second,
through.
and fourth, I think that they picked up. Well, that's Cryo being Cryo, eh? Cryo RDT. You want to talk about OG teams? Well, this is a phenomenal moment for them here. As it looks
Nice
like
move by
first through
Nystrom.
fourth.
Nystrom just holding on. But
Oh my
yeah,
God, they killed.
first, second,
Yeah.
and fourth for Cryo, I believe. We'll have to double check the points here in just a second. But wow.
And that almost has to be a fastest through segment, to tell you the truth.
With the way they came through, I think you're right,
Right.
because the way they came through, it does look like it was most likely a fastest through segment. We'll have to wait and see how that ends up calculating here. We do have some attacks still playing out live on screen now. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what's going on here, because it does look like Kaufman from VCR Doggos is saying, we're not going to play around here. We're going to separate things up. Everybody's a little bit tired here. Harder now going too. So the boys, they ain't playing around. This isn't a similar race to what we saw in the women's race. They kind of watched each other a little bit here, though. The boys are like, nah, let's make it a race from the get-go.
Yeah, reckless abandon out here for sure. And these guys have got to be just champing at the bit with the opportunity to race against such a quality field. You don't get many days of racing like this. The Peloton, Nathan, you have taught me well that in moments like this, the momentum, the snowballing happening back in that Peloton does not bode well for Zach Harner, the no pins rider, along with your mentioning the Australian there on the VCRT Doggos, another one of actually. I say Australian. Doggos sounds Australian, but I don't think he is. Now that I look a little bit closer, that would be a United Kingdom's flag. So we take a look here at two riders just stretching their legs here. Again, it's only 24.6K of racing. That's going to be the, oh my God, they killed Kenny rider Dan Pedrosa there. He has been a stalwart, just a one-man wrecking crew week after week. And look at the numbers from Pedrosa there as he goes really big for a moment. And makes that catch. It's all coming back together. Grupo Compacto at 10K in.
And it looks like a nice little catch there from Pedrosa, making sure that the Oh My God They Killed Kenny team are still well and involved at the front end of this race. Solid effort there coming from them. Always good to see. It looks like as we make our way into Ocean Boulevard again, they are going to calm down just a little bit. And as they do, we can take a look at the points and see how things have played out with the points so far, as well as what the current standings are. Double check and see if we can bring the standings in. We'll have to wait on the standings, I believe, as they are getting some updates here at the moment. But on the points side of things, I believe this is the current situation. And at the top there, it is going to be B. Vanda Hult. Martins is there as well. That is going to be obviously the Toyota Cryo RDT team that was able to grab a ton of points there. Also, our current standings, they have gotten updated here. And so this is the situation. Toyota Cryo RDT with 20 points, BL13 with 19, No Pins R3R Men there with 18, Draft and Hexagon all in the conversation. Most likely it's going to be a little bit of struggle, I think, for the other teams to make the catch up there from 15 down. But still, the placing at the end of the season, I think, is also something still to be, chased after amongst like who's who. It's a little bit of a badge if I took, anywhere in the top 10 within the world of the Zwift Racing League.
Yeah, those results, that table you're looking at is based on one race, the team time trial that was held on Tuesday. So, but right back at it just a few days later to sort things out with our points race format. We talked about it during the women's race. I'm sure if you're with us here now, you're probably up to speed on the fact that every one of these riders is trying to just collect and gather as many points as they can out here through various means, whether it's fastest through segment and because this is not a loop course or a circuit, you don't get multiple cracks at these fastest through segments. You get one shot at it. And that's why I certainly think that we're going to see the Toyota Cryo RDT men showing why they had the best team time trial ride. It's because they've got an incredibly strong team with a lot of depth out here. We've seen BL13, the Watt Bombs, though, Nathan, they have had some stellar moments. As a matter of fact, some of the greatest moments we've seen in esports racing have been created by that team. I'll never forget, I guess it was not a ZRL race. I think that might have been one of the Legion criteriums where they put that jailbreak together with 5 riders attacking off of the front and holding on for the win. That was a fun race to watch and really shows you the spirit of that BL13 team. They're always willing to cut against the grain out there. And then you can see, obviously, the legendary No Pins R3R team. They're looking to have a big day out here. And certainly, I wouldn't bet against them, to tell you the truth. Very, very active in the early going as we've just hit the halfway point of this race. Everything finishes with a relatively stiff climb out here today.
And just as a heads up there, we're just missing one image. Just want to say the
see-through jersey they're using.
Yeah, they're using a see-through jersey. It's going to be the Toyota Cryo RDT. So the only missing jersey, I believe, on here, unless Herd's riding for somebody else, is going to be that Toyota Cryo RDT. Now, a little bit of a kick again here coming from ZWC. Good on them to make this move. And why would they be making the move right here? Well, that's the dirt section that does slow everybody down a little bit. Ameda from Hex looking to go across. Harner as well from No Pins R3R. If they get a little bit of a gap here, the pack might watch them. Well, nope, Britain going across as well as some more Toyota boys.
Yeah.
Now, with those orange numbers, though, a lot of times that's to jump across and not drag everybody through, but the pace is so high at the front of the pack, it can be really difficult to get that gap to open up.
Yeah, it really is. But this is definitely a moment where they're hotting things up out here. You certainly got to stay on your toes. Can't drift to the back of the group in a moment like this, and that's going to be Almeida as the Hexagon rider. Nathan, Hexagon was one of the breakthrough teams of the season without any doubt. It's going to be interesting to see how they play their cards in the second half of this race. But this is going to be our Japanese team, Nakagawa, that we're in with right now for the ZWC Allies squad. And it's not entirely Japanese. They have one Australian rider on this team, but Hide Hamayoto, another very strong rider on that ZWC team. But it looks like it's all going to come back together here through the piers.
Yeah, as you can see, all chilling out here as they do bring it back together. Maybe another kick in just a moment here as we do this little 1% uphill grade in a left-hand turn. I do like to give it a go sometimes through here when I'm in maybe a flatter race, though, when I'm doing like 3 laps of Watopia flat or 4 laps of Watopia flat on the second or third lap, a little longer route perhaps, and then you head into the S turns, which are a false flat as well. You can tend to get a little bit of a gap on the pack that wants to sit in. The only thing I was thinking is that in my head, as I'm a director, and maybe I got a team that doesn't necessarily have a pure climber for that 6. I mean, with the men's, it's going to be 6-something minutes, maybe even less. And so what you end up doing is you say, well, let's try and maybe get somebody off the front and just break this apart. And everybody who's waiting for the climb might, let something go, think it's not going to stick. And, there could be some risks that were taken. I think that was what was going on there with ZWC as well as a few of the others, but it got shut down very quickly. And that's the danger of making those moves is you have these teams that are so stacked and they just want to keep it together. So they've done a good job of pulling anything back that could be a risk.
Yeah, well put. And that's really what makes this different than just showing up and racing your bike is the team element out here and having strong teammates that can set the table for the final of the race. That makes a huge, huge difference. Big group together here, not for a lack of trying, but just like in the women's race, Nathan, eventually things come back together after they go deep fighting for the points out here. And we will update those points here. I think when you throw that fastest through segment, it's starting to look like Cryo is really on a great day today.
Jumping
no surprise.
It has calmed down a little bit, though, for sure, hasn't it, Dave? As we look through here, I mean, really, they're all just
actually really similar to the women.
Yeah, I thought perhaps when we saw them leaving Titans Grove with a couple of attacks off the front, we'd see that continue. But I think they've all kind of gone, no, it's not going to go anywhere. People are chasing. Let's reserve. That's not going to really pay off in the end. And just make sure we have the best finale as we possibly can. Also, there's a
Which
sprint
makes
coming up
sense.
here in just a moment, which is worth a lot of points because there's fastest through segment as well. I keep speaking to the climb and the volcano because it's so incredibly exciting, but we still have a sprinter's delight here in just a moment.
Yeah, but going back to your point, really valid, Nathan. If you're planning on being in the top 5 or even top 10 at the end of this race, this is a really good time to cool your jets and just try to lay off the gas as much as you can. And there's always going to be that rider that gets out there and stirs the pot. And I love that. That's what bike racing is all about. And it looks like we've got yet another move from Roca. Very much an animator throughout the season out here for the VCRT Doggos.
Doggo's making a move, and we'll see if they can hold on to this gap because fastest through segment, not going to be gained by this move most likely, but first across the line is up for grabs, and I think the pack is going to sit. I don't think they're going to chase too hard on this because they want the fastest through segment, or perhaps they trust that the speed of the pack will make something happen. He's within 500 meters at this point. He might have done it. Does he have anything left in the tank, though, to hold off a hard charging pack at 11 watts per kilogram? Here comes Burnett.
Yeah, what's interesting is I think that they're going to let those point. Well, no, I was going to say that, it's really how much calories do you burn to bring him back? Well, apparently a lot, because they're going to here as they are closing this down. It shows you the power of the peloton here as they go inside 100 meters, and these guys just crush streams right, left, and center as this is going to be BL13 and Barry over the top first. But boy, it looks like every team got someone up in there. I think we might call that one a wash, Nathan, as I don't think any team took a huge advantage there. Get ready to reset. We're going to go back and look at that attack. I certainly thought he had it up until now.
Until we saw 14 watts per kilogram and probably almost 70 kilometers per hour coming from Toyota Cryo RDT. I thought they were going to pull it off, but BL13 showing us that they know how to sprint. If there's ever a team that I'm not going to bet against in this sprint, it's, exactly. Yeah. Especially when it comes to a kick to the line. Barry throwing it down. Hex, I think Toyota Cryo RDT there taking third. Skylab for fourth. Nice jump in the middle of it. And it's going to be Deepak, I think, across the line for fifth as they enter into the Essies and look forward to the Volcano.
See what I mean about every team had a rider in the top 10? I think. So nobody completely committed their squad because they know, as you've been talking about, Nathan, it's all that last act of this play that has got to be putting a little bit of a chill into the spine of some of these riders. Is we're going to see if Toyota is going to be able to back up their team time trial win on Tuesday and go 2 for 2 here in our league playoff. These are the best teams based on their performances throughout an 8-race regular season. We brought them together for a 2-race format, and this is it. It is now into the final 6.5 kilometers of racing.
And it is BL13 that we're taking over at the front of the pack just a moment ago through the Essies. Mundell now chilling out. Now over the top, a little bit of a gap there. I think that's going to be Deepak actually making a move, interesting enough. As a little bit of a gap to the rider there from Deepak. I don't think he's really looking to go anywhere, perhaps. Maybe it was just a roll through with some speed. But, I mean, with holding that gap, though, there's an effort being thrown down by that rider. That's not to hold on to a gap like that through the Essies amongst this kind of a group. Either the group is really, really chilled out, or he's putting out 5 to 6 watts per kilogram. So, I wonder what the rider here from Deepak is up to. Now being brought back into the fold, it looks like, and that was Morgan. Now back.
I think he thought the same thing himself there. And
what am I doing off the front?
Yeah. Because as you say, it's hard. I mean, just trying to dangle off the front, what do you got to make 2.5 watts per kilo more than every guy sitting back in that group, burning a match that you really don't want to.
How many left do we got here, Dave? It looks like, and just I want to also what
40
have the pace been like too is my question. What kind of power have these riders had to throw down just to be involved?
So
in this
when
race?
you get Thai food, they'll ask you how many peppers, 1 to 4. How spicy do you want it? I think this was a 2-pepper race. It wasn't mild, but it wasn't unbelievably hot either. And it speaks to the final of this race and these guys trying to save something so they can be competitive in that last climb. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I mean, if you look at the Premier Division type racing, you're looking at close to 5 watts per kilogram or more from the top end of the race. And no, that's not even close to what we're looking at on average, I would say, of about 4 watts per kilogram. And so they really have, in a points race like this today, been focusing in a lot on those sections and gone into Gruppo Compacto, holding hands a little bit between each one of those sprints. Now, the sprints obviously have been absolutely insane, and they're really looking forward to this volcano climb. I'm guessing that we're going to go a full half a watt per kilogram increase in their average, or even more, perhaps, depending on how hard they go from bottom to top. And I have feeling that one or two of these riders have been saving everything to go bottom to top to just really press that pace rather than wait for that final kick. We'll see, though, if they make it interesting, if they kind of watch each other for that final kick.
It's hard to say that anyone could be fresh after 26 minutes of making 4 watts per kilo, but I completely agree with Nathan. I think that there's more than half of these guys are what you would call, they're not under pressure at this point. So they've been able to get to where they needed to be in this group without, burning the candle at both ends out here. So we're going to be looking now at Morgan of the DPAC team. It's a big group, and this is the moment when you're down to 4K to go at this point. Almost all of it is going to be climbing from here on in.
Definitely. I saw the comment coming on through just a little while ago asking about other categories. We did mention at the beginning of the broadcast, I would absolutely love to go across all the categories for live images, but we are unable to do so without risking losing all of our images completely. So we don't do that for the playoffs out here today. We will be taking a look at the results as well as the point structures at the end of the race here today across the categories that finished within a reasonable time of the rest of the men's race. The women's should be all said and done, so I just wanted to throw that out there to the chat. We do know that a lot of you are looking forward to season 3, though. We are looking to feature a lot more and bring in a lot more coverage across the categories as best as we can. A lot going on in the background in order to do that. If not live images, at least stories and from behind the avatar as well. So as we head into the final climb, though, Legends and Lava about to finish up here for our playoffs for the men's side of things. And will Toyota Cryo DT be able to hold on is going to be the question, Dave.
Wouldn't bet against them, that's for sure, Nathan. We are locked and loaded. This is not a drill as we move into the final 5 minutes of racing for these gentlemen. This is the Champions League in the ZRL. These are the best teams from all of the divisions around the globe. We talked about Europe, Middle East, and Africa, the Americas, APAC, the races coming from down under. Well, this is the mix. They've qualified to be here by winning their division, and now we're going to find out who the real cream of the crop is. That's Cryogen, the white and blue jersey up on the front. They're the top team coming into this race after our team time trial, and they're looking to go 2 for 2 out here. No Pins R3R is one of the teams that wants to upset that apple cart. A little bit of separation here now for Kohler and Zach Harner as they really start to put their foot on the throat of this bike race now. Only the strong survive, Nathan, on this climb. At this
Felix
pace.
Kohler, this rider here, former elite duathlete and runner, actually level 50, European champion of 2017, elite in his Zwift profile here, smashing it right now at the front. Very strong rider out of Germany. It looks like he's going to go backwards, though, just a little bit. Put a little pressure on there. 181 beats per minute. Wonder what the thoughts were there. Maybe just to see if there's anybody struggling at the back of the pack. Perhaps set up one of their stronger kick to the line type riders.
Confirming riders struggling at the back of the pack. That's for sure. As this is the little dip, you see they're actually going downhill for a moment. But Nathan, you know who I saw moving up was the yellow jersey, Michael Gamst of BL13, the Danish powerhouse. And I get the feeling they're just about to light the fuse here. Everybody keeping their powder dry, which is it shows a lot of patience to take this down to 2K. There's going to be a sonic boom, coming out of this group. Incredible to see these kind of numbers here right now. You start looking around because this is going to be points based. What team has got the numbers? Well, I see a lot of BL13 and I see a lot of cryo. And there you go. BL13 has hit out. It's going to be big move.
Loving it. And now Toyo Cardia, they're responding very quickly because it is Gamps. You called it right there, Dave. Gamps goes to the front. It's going to be Cryo trying to chase. And Gamps from BL13 making a move. They're doing what they always do. The WAP bombs, throwing down the bombs at this point in the climb, trying to get away. They don't want to make it an all-out sprint on that final kick. And Gamps now, the Danish WAP bomb, is making it happen. I love this team. They always throw a wrench into the plans of some of the teams. And VCR Doggo is now going across. This may be just a sprint of attrition, essentially, over the last K and a half or so.
What a ride Kaufman is having. Yeah, attrition is 100% the word. And look at Kaufman now. He is going absolutely ballistic. We are separating now the real gladiators of esports from the rest of this group. So Kaufman, who's been outstanding out here today, has clearly got the golden legs as he's going to make contact here with Michael Gamps, the Danish rider, as these two now are the front. They're at 1K to go. Look at the peloton behind them now. That is just ominous as he plays now. That's a drafting power-up that really isn't going to make that much difference. He uses it at a moment.
Here's the thing, and I think going on in Gamps' head. He went because all he had was a drafting power-up, and he is so happy that Kaufman came across because now it gets an advantage for him, right? So he's like, I don't have a feather, I don't have an arrow, I don't have anything but this truck. Well, I'm just going to go because I'm not going to win the sprint. And Kaufman comes across and gives him a wheel. Gamps is happy as can be with that with 4 seconds now and about a K to go.
Yeah, that's definitely making lemonade out of lemons because that drafting truck, it increases the drafting effect by 50% for 30 seconds, which is not really going to be the one that you're looking for here. So now these two, look at the gap here, 6 seconds. They're going to do it. These two stay away. So the big loser right now is Cryo RDT. To tell you the truth, Nathan, BL13 might be setting up one of the biggest upsets that we've seen in quite a while. I did not anticipate it being this close. Michael Gamps realizes that the points at the
7 seconds
are going to be absolute. They're gone. They're not coming back. Now, it's going to be BL13 attack out of the peloton here as well because these two are going to take first and second in my mind, Nathan. Oh, my goodness, what a finale we are witnessing here. This is what Legends in Lava is all about.
Oh,
these
and the feather power-up comes. Johnson's trying to come across. 12 watts per kilogram here coming from Skylab at the front of the pack. But VCR Doggos is going to go. It looks like he's got the feather power up. I don't think the Gamps can respond to that kind of a power and the extra RNG in the bag. But here comes Gamps at 8.1. Will he come back across? And the pack is charging hard. Dave, the pack is going to upset the whole thing. Evola, D-Pack are going to win it outright here, followed by Hexagon, Cryo, then the third.
And Cryo saves the day. Wow. So I completely called that wrong, Nathan. You got to wait until the race is over and Cryo comes back. And I have a feeling that will be enough with the points, the bonus points that they picked up along the way. Fabian Diavola, one of the top riders in our community. He's got a lot of Premier League experience and he showed patience and strength when combined. That's a potent recipe that Diavola put together.
What a move by Fabian Diavola. The patience, constant patience, waiting there. Deepak, though, not really involved. Not really involved, though, when it comes to the overall. But on the day, winning outright on the points race, big shout out to Deepak and Fabian.
He might as well have been on the Cryo team, Nathan, at that point, because what he's doing is taking away points from every other squad. Right? I mean,
exactly.
It's huge for Cryo.
Here's the move from Kaufman, though, with that feather power up, but it didn't even matter with the kind of speed. Well, I mean, it was a good, it looked like it, but at 5 seconds, you can see how quickly a 10% gradient with 12 to 15 watts per kilogram can just get shut down.
I mean, and he's only about a football pitch from the finish line here, but as Nathan says, that gradient is so steep and it's just pure watch per kilo at this point. And that's the man for the hour, Fabian Devola, winning the final race of season 2 here in 21-22. Bravo for the Hexagon team. Boy, did they have a great season. The French riders were tremendous as Marc Mertens there for Toyota Cryo comes through the German. He'll pick up third place, and that will be critical in their tally. Those points will be the difference to see if Toyota Cryo, a legacy team, one of the teams going all the way back to the early days, who remain a force to be reckoned with, are going to be able to take out the best of the best here on Legends of Lava. What a season, Nathan. Hey, we got to thank Martin, too. Behind the scenes, Martin has done so much work to make this into an amazing, amazing season 2. So thank you to everybody at WTRL for their hard work. And I know people are already excited about season 3.
Looking at the replay again here, it does look like, I believe, Toyota Cryo DD may have done enough. We see Martin's coming through, obviously, for third. I saw Hurd there as well.
Yeah.
Was Cohen there? I thought I saw Cohen in there somewhere.
What's also important, Nathan, is the mix of other teams. Is that there? If you saw 3 BL13s sitting up in the top 7, you'd have a problem, but that's not the case.
100%. Well, let's take a look at how things played out across all of the categories that we did have out there. For the women's race, we'll take a look at what we just watched in just a moment when it comes to the results in just a second. But let's go ahead and jump on in with the ladies, as it was 2021-22 Season 2 Women's Playoff Points race, and it was Anna Gela Ukena for Canyon Esports Beta across the line with a solid 2.5-second gap. Right there for second with Megan Rathwell. Maybe saving the day for them. We'll have to wait and see, because look at that, Dave. I don't see another Riot rider in the top 10. Roca Corba, third, fourth. Andrew got a fleece there, and Sammy Stewart, that you had mentioned plenty of times, one of the up-and-comers out of the UK, in there for sixth. Catherine Ridgway, Elena Wuyan. It's going to be Ruth Shire and Leah Thorvalson for Sox Rock. Sox Rock's really rounding out the top 10 there for 8th, 9th, and 10th. But speak to what do you think is going on here, maybe, Dave? Any predictions? Did Riot hold on? Because there's a lot of other teams in that top 10 right now.
I think they did, based on that. What I also love is take a look at Angela Ukena's watch per kilo. She was the most efficient rider sitting in our top 5. That's really, really impressive. She knows her way around an esports race, that's for sure. It makes sense being on Canyon Esports. But yeah, the question is, does Roca Corba do? Well, actually, I think that Riot's in pretty good shape, to tell you the truth. Canyon Esports. Oof, boy, they made it interesting, though, didn't they? Again, you can always go to WTRL.racing to look at any of our divisions or results through the season. Nathan, so for the overall, okay, 2 ways to break this down. I think on the day-to-day, Canyon Esports will get the better, but I have a feeling that on the overall, that Riot wins the playoffs.
Yeah, gotcha. And I think you may be correct about that. Let's go through the rest of the results, though, for the other categories in the women's side of things here. And it is going to be one of my favorite teams. It is going to be the Wild Bees for Kirchner, taking down the top spot for the first across the line at the end of the day. Marjolaine there de Vlieger for only a 0.08 seconds. Wow, that came right down to it for the Herd of Little Penguins. Ashley up there for third for Dutch Diesel Cycling. Zena Lauren Camp there for the Herd of Little Penguins as well for fourth. Jessica Rotter for Kirchner B1W Wild Bees. Joe Graham for Crushbod. Good to see them out there as well in sixth. Thea Curse, Evo Comet Queens in seventh. Sarah Ryan there for Cryogen Mare Blanc. It's going to be Aaron Tolf for Herd of Butterflies, and Namet Rasmussen for Evo Comet Queens as well. That's your top 10 in the B category for first across the line in this playoffs. We're going to get all the league standings provisional before verification in just a moment for the women's side of things in just a moment as well. But Dave, why don't you take a look at the C's?
Well, it was Cindy Brussy, who is a Dutch rider on Team NL Ladies C Elite team, who takes the top spot out here today. Katja Glies for Kirkmeyer, the Team B's rider. Second silver medal to go with that. Gina van Rossum. Boy, look at the Dutch flags here. 3 in the top 4 for Team NL ladies. Running for a different team, but still Dutch, is Karen van den Racht of Galaxy Supernova Velocity. In 5th today is Brandy Ray of ATP Racing Hive. Team NL ladies, they have Iris Noten in 6th. It's Kelly Wagang in 7th, the American there for ATP Racing Hive. Allison Held, 8th out of the United Kingdom for Galaxy Supernova Velocity. It's Tammy Taylor flying the Ukrainian flag today in 9th for Dutch Diesel Cycling. Good job, Tammy. And it's going to be Ilona van Ginken there in 10th for the Dutch ladies. So, boy, Holland and Fuego today. I don't know how to say on fire in Dutch, but that's your women's C's there after a great season. 10 races to get to this point. That's 2.5 months. What a commitment by all our riders.
And in the D category, it is going to be Justine Leahy, first across the line for HDRL Daiquiris. Tessa Voss there for the Sports Solid Women. D1. Carol Fulton there out of Australia coming through for HDRL Daiquiris as well. 17 seconds back. A little bit of separation here in the D category. Must have been, this looks like it was quite, as you would say, the Donnybrook. I mean, this was completely blown apart in the Ds.
There's no group. There's no
Megan
group.
Mouser, Abby Durrani there, followed up by Molly Kripe, Clara Greensides, Emma Cox there in 8th. It's going to be Lucy Gills and Sam Denny. Nice job to Team CLS. Revo. Kit Kats.
I call
Galaxy Cosmic Velocity out there as well, and the Herd of Emperors and WTRL Dinos all represented.
I call those a clipboard finish in real life when you can actually write down the numbers of every rider because they're coming through 3 seconds apart. Very, very rare in cycling. It shows you how hard it was, no doubt about it. So that's a good look at all of our women's. These are the top teams again. If you're joining us here at the end of a long season, these are the riders and teams that have made their mark here for season 2. And everybody will be retooling, recruiting. There's a fair amount of that goes on these days. Just trying to bring strong riders into your program. Always trying to reinforce and keep building. That's the name of the game.
We're trying to get Anna to come in to have a chat with us, and I absolutely her commitment is just amazing. We'll see if she wants to share about why she wasn't able to get here during just at the moment, but we'd love to have her on the broadcast here in just a moment to chat about how Riot did for the season. In just a second. We'll see if we can get all the results in. We'll see how fast the C's and the D's were finishing up. But on the men's side of things for the A's, we do have the first across the line at the end of the day. Fabian Davola obviously taking that down. Dave, take it away for the rest of them.
Hey, you bet. Thanks, Nathan. So, yeah, the Belgian rider Fabian Davola there for D-Pack Elite taking the win. Look at that, 4.7 watts per kilo. He earned that one. Sebastian Havot for Hexagon, French rider in 2nd. It's going to be the German Martin Mertens in 3rd for Toyota Cryo. You can see Jesse Seaman for No Pins R3R in 4th. Daniel Mundell out of the UK for the BL13 Watt Bombs takes 5th. Tony Lemire in 6th for Hexagon. It's the VCRT Doggos with Chris Kaufman in 7th. Sam Lindsay 8th for D-Pack Elite. He's the New Zealander on that team. You've got Nick Hurd. Great ride today, Nick, for Toyota Cryo. And at 9th, those points will make a big difference, as well as Chris Smarts. Chris from the United Kingdom for No Pins R3R in 10th.
Not sure BL13 did enough. I mean, they only have the one.
I don't think.
And for a 5th.
I don't
but
think
they
so
did
either.
Take down some good points earlier. This one's a little bit more
They had
up
a great
in the air
season
for me. It is a little bit more up in the air for me as far as how these points are going to end up playing out. We'll have to wait and see.
See, here's my thought is Cryo with a 3rd and a 9th, as well as a lot of early points.
Yeah. Let's we're going to wait a second here before we go through some more, because we got a guest jumping in with us. Anna, can you hear me? I just want to double check before we go to video. You got me, Anna?
Can you hear me?
All right, we're going to turn you up a little bit here. Yeah,
I can hear Anna.
I got you, Anna. And just give us 1 second here. Got to make sure that we have. Well, I'll just bring this in and then we'll.
So Are we getting
Go ahead.
ready for
Go
the
ahead, Dave.
big reveal, Nathan?
Yeah,
Here,
we are
Have
getting ready for the big reveal here.
so everybody
Uh,
wondering who did win the playoffs for our women's A's. This is our friend, colleague, and my hero, Anna Russell.
Hello.
Hello, Anna. So looks like a nice day in New Zealand, where it's already Sunday.
I know, yeah, I'm about to go out for brunch. That was my reward for that horrible volcano.
horrible
Hey.
volcano. Why was it a horrible volcano is what I want to know.
Oh, well, I mean, it's good. It's hard. Every time it's hard, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
what
Anna,
was
really,
the
really
total
quickly.
effort time on that one? What was that?
It was what?
What was the total effort on that one? Like, I mean, that was like 7 minutes or so. What was the time over the
Yeah,
top?
7 flat. I think Megan did like 6:50. It was pretty quick.
Gotcha.
So, Anna, while
go
we're
ahead,
waiting
Dave.
for
Go
these
ahead,
results to pop up, let me quickly ask about your team and the season and how it all went. You guys have, this is the 5th season for you, correct? Working with this group of women. Am I right on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, we've been
So
going a
how's,
long time. So it's amazing. This team, we're just busy chatting straight after the race. We probably get on about 15 minutes early and chat. And in the quiet times of that race, we were blabbing on about a whole raft of different topics. So, I mean, it's kind of 50% social, 50% racing, right? So it's, yeah, it's just a blast. Like, I mean, they're all friends now. So we chat all the time just about a whole lot of different things. It's a cool bunch. And like Riot, I think what sets us apart is we may not always win the race outright, or we may not always win the sprints, but the whole team is right up there. So that's why we always keep winning, is the whole team is strong, right?
if you talk about today, did you go in with a defensive mindset, looking at the fact that you were leading after the team time trial, or did you want to race this just as a one-day race and not worry about what had already happened on Tuesday?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. We actually took this one pretty seriously. We wanted to win pretty bad, the whole thing. So we actually got Aaron Bleakley, who rides for NZ Bro, to do our TTT strategy. And because last time in the playoffs, we got on that we started on the back foot. We were like 4th after the TTT. And you just can't come back after that, no matter how well you do in a scratch race. So we focused on winning the TT most. That was probably our biggest focus. And we won that. And then we sort of treated today like a bit of a celebration, because we all knew if we made that front pack, we would probably win, because we just have 6 riders up in the top 19, right? So you've got the numbers. I wanted to focus on Titans, and I think we did pretty well on that. Evelyn's got Canadian champs tomorrow, so she wanted to really focus on the sprint, and then she was supposed to take it easy, but she didn't. She just smashed the volcano as well.
I'd love to talk about when you look at the way this season has played out and your Riot team. You have role players on this team, it looks like, and it seems like that's part of the strength of Riot is the organization.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, me being pregnant and having a newborn, I was in the DS role for quite a while. But now we come out with a roster and we all pick the races we really want to do. So we get to pick our favorite races. And then the person who's the reserve is also the DS. So today we had Claire Cameron on as DS. She's racing tomorrow. So she couldn't race. So she was DSing. So everyone gets to share the load. And then we all are trying to work on our weaknesses. My weakness was sprinting. So I've been working on that with Christina. Now I'm working on punching. And so that's Claire's jam, so she's helping me out with that. So we're all sharing workouts. We're all trying to, like, what is it? A rising tide raises all boats. So we all try and help each other to all get better, as opposed to one of us always just trying to win. So yeah, we all get on and share what workouts work for us. Megan was telling us what makes her hill climbing really good. So yeah, we're all just kind of open and want all of us to get better.
Last question for you, as I know everyone's excited to see the results. The quality of competition is what makes this fun, right? It's no when you show up at a bike race and just dominate, that doesn't satisfy the competitive urge. And the depth of the field that you raced against, it had to have been extremely cool to see that we have so many talented women around the world that are part of the ZRL. That's my last ask, is your thoughts on that, where we're at, the state of the union, if you will.
Oh, it's amazing. I'd say, I mean, I started racing on Zwift maybe 2 years ago, and the women's races would sort of have like 10 people, maybe 15. And now you jump on. I mean, today was 35 of the top women. I mean, you saw at the end of that climb, everyone was together, right? Everyone was so good. And also during the season, what I'm absolutely loving is you have a new team come on, like Sparrow or Electric Spirit, and they start off and you can tell they just haven't quite got the gamification part yet. And then by, race 4 or 5, they're right up there winning it. So you see the progression right in front of your eyes, and that's awesome as well. Like, Riot's not walking away with these wins. Like, it takes a lot of work to try and get ahead of these teams. So, we're tapering for these races. We're taking it really seriously. So, yeah, this is no walk in the park. These are legit races.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Anna, to speak to Anna's commitment to racing on Zwift as well, I just want to give everybody a highlight as to what was going on in the background. I had her on with green screen, live streaming. I saw this whole thing going on, and then she's like, "Oh, I can't be here for a second. I gotta go do breakfast with the family." Then I was like, "Anna, are you ready?" And she's like, "I'm not going to reveal too much. I don't know what like. I mean,
that's fine.
She's breastfeeding her baby, and then she jumps on here. I mean, the amount of commitment, and I mean, International Women's Month. I mean, just a big shout out to how you're helping to lead the way there, Anna. Great job, and big shout out to Riot and everything. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, we're huge fans of yours, Anna.
And everybody else is
no
too. Aaron Toffel in here saying thank you for the tips, Anna. Congrats, etc. So great job out there. And let's go ahead and take a look here. Anna, I think you're going to be really happy about this next segment in just a second. So thanks for jumping on with us.
Yeah, bravo.
Thanks, guys.
Anna.
And wait, thank you guys for your commentary, because you bring the races to life, right? It's nowhere near as fun when you don't have the commentary going on. So you guys are just totally rad. And I was listening to the men's coverage. You guys have just got it nailed. So thanks as well for an awesome season.
Awesome. All right, Anna.
Thanks, Anna.
Have fun in New Zealand. Have a great day. Everybody,
Thanks,
Anna Russell, obviously, Team Riot. Great to have her on. And Team Riot, well, it looks like they pulled it off
They
here,
did it
Dave,
again.
at the top.
Yeah. So this is the season that we're looking at, and congratulations to Riot. You can see that they had a first and a second there with 39 points, and that certainly solved any questions we had about tiebreakers or any of that. Canyon Esports Beta ends up with 37 points, a tremendous season. And as Anna said, this was no walk in the park for them. They had to fight tooth and nail for this one. So Canyon Esports, keep your head up. You're going to have some big days ahead of you. Ruka Korba, welcome to the big time. It's really great to see this South African-based team, but obviously an international squad. And Ruka Korba, that famous climb right outside of Girona, the Collective A team ends up in third. ElectricSpirit.co, the Chanticleer edition. Really enjoyed watching these women find their own. And as Anna said, we watched them make leaps and bounds out there this year. Socks for Watch doing what Socks for Watch does, just impressing us. Polka Dot Bombs ending up in fifth, and ATP Racing Stingers, another team with a bright future. Congratulations to everybody that made our playoffs. Good luck in season 3, and thanks for all the memories.
And over in the B category, the Evo Comets pull it off by 1 point. Nice job to Evo. I think they just held on there, actually. Dutch Diesel Cycling, Xena. Wow, really cool to see in this B category, actually, some of these top teams and how they battled it out throughout the season, actually. As Dutch Diesel versus Evo Comets, what an awesome battle to see come out of the entirety of our international women's community racing on Zwift. Turtle Little Penguins hold on for third, and then Crush Pod, they're in for fourth. The Cryogent Mary Blanc get fifth place. They're followed by Kirchmer BW Wild Bees. Sisu, I Raced Like a Girl, Freya in seventh in this B category. Herd of Butterflies in eighth. It's going to be TBR Smile On in ninth. And Sock Swats, Swim, Bike, Run, and some cake. I like it. In for 10th. That's the situation here for the preliminary provisional results in the playoffs for the B category. For the C's,
I think you just invented the quadrathlon. Swim, bike, run, cake. Or tacos. All right, Galaxy Supernova Velocity. This team was phenomenal. Wow. Very, very impressive job here as they end up as our C points race. Actually, I should say our C playoffs champions, because this is combining Tuesday's team time trial and today's points race. So, way to go, Galaxy Supernova Velocity. You did it, ladies. Team NL Ladies C Elite. Wow, were they phenomenal today. They end up in second for the playoffs, and ATP Racing Hive into third. It's Coalition Eclipse in fourth. The Kirkmeyer Team Bees in fifth. So I love the representation from around the globe with this here. German teams, American teams, United Kingdom, a lot of Europe, and then we've got AHDRL, which is the Australian Hump Day Ride Ladies Edition, Crank Crushers in sixth. It's WTRL, that's our home team, World Tactical Racing League, and the SIA squad in seventh. Crush Pod Viradandi in eighth. Rave Beast Coast in ninth, and Team CLS Chic Diesels. Chick Diesels? What do you think?
I think chic.
Diesel.
I think chic.
Yeah.
I think chic. I think
I'll go with Chic and in 10th out there. But great job to all of our C women, top teams around the world showing up for our playoffs. Back to you, Nathan, for the Ds.
And for the Ds, our provisional results with the Team CLS Damsel Diesels with 38 points. It's going to be WTRL Dinos Veloci in for second place on the season playoffs here. It's going to be Herd of Emperor Penguins in third. HDRL Daiquiris in for fourth. Sports Solid Women D1 in fifth there. Galaxy Cosmic Velocity in sixth. Team NL Ladies D in seventh. Revo Kit Kats in eighth place. Giving them a break. And it's going to be in ninth there for Herd of Chinstrap Penguins. And Roo Riders, Wild Ones, there. They round out your top 10 for the playoffs. Nice job to all the ladies there in the D category. I think the rest of the men most likely have finished up their race. Let's head on over to the Bs. We already took a look at the first cross line for the day in the A's. In the B category, Dave, it is Ludwig at the top.
Okay, so this is our
first across the line for the day results.
So this is our finishing results for
correct.
Today's race. Dirty Beast Goats with the win going to Ludwig Karlberg and the gold medal to go with that. It's Jason Robinson of Dirty Beast Behemoths in second. Ned Bowen, Draft B Rider, in third. Marcus Otter, the German, in fourth. Another German as Preslaw Ilski in fifth. Different teams, though. Ruhr Riders is the team for Marcus Otter, and Ilski riding for Watt Fabric. Watt Loven. It's Jason Sterney, the American, on Dirt OG in sixth. David Squirrell in seventh for Dirty Beast Goats. Rainier Beckers in eighth for Watt Fabric. Jacob Marks, ninth for Enzebro Legolas. And then rounding out your top 10 is Philippe Penet for Talent Fray B1.
And for our C category, for first across the line at the end of the day, Sean Fogenberg there, Herd Mentality taking it down by 1.36 second. Keith Cullen there for Racing Without Borders Serrano in second place. Matthew Dury for Herd Mentality, followed up by Bob Jean Genio for TFC Thor. Andrew Ellis there for RR Grey Woolly Rhinos in fifth. Jimbo TFC Thor, followed up by his teammate Alex Gifford there in seventh. Maddie Herman for Cryogen Murdehu. Then Chris Taylor out of New Zealand for AHDR Commodores. And then Andres Duplat for Cryogen Murdehu in for 10th place. Close one, separated by 3 seconds across the C category for that first across the line. Final over the top of the Volcano. The D category, let's see, I think the boys perhaps not quite finished up out there. We'll have to wait and see. Or perhaps just no results on the D category side of things. But as far as the playoffs standings go, for the men's side of things, let's see if we can go ahead and Martin's got more details coming. So, all right. It is going to be Toyota Cryo DT pulling it off again. Dave, nice job to them holding on to the line today.
Yeah, you can see that, again, nobody took both the team time trial and, well, in our A's, the men or the women, I should say. They end up with 39 points, a first and a second. Out here puts them on top of the table. Congratulations to Toyota Cryo RDT men. They certainly fought out there. BL13 Watt Bombs end up in second as they just hold off Hexagon. The French team there in third. No Pins R3R. End up in fourth. Deepak Elite. Fabian Devola certainly helped their cause today with a fantastic finish, and they end up top five. Skylab for sixth. Oh my God, they killed Kenny in seventh. Team ZWC, the Allies in eighth. BCRT Dagos ninth, and then DZR Dynamic Danes round out your top 10 here in our men's A's. And that's the playoffs done and dusted.
Dirty Beast Coats walk away with it, it looks like, winning both of the races in the B category for the playoffs in the ZRL. Draft B, hold on for second. Watt Fabric, Watt Lowen there for third. Talent Frey, B1 in fourth. It's going to be Dirt OG in fifth. Dirty Beast Behemoth, lots of dads inside Ryan Trainers in the B category, it looks like, with sixth place there. On the Rivet, TWSS there in seventh. EDDK, Break a Leg in eighth. Rue Riders B1 team, it's going to be in ninth place. And Demanche coming on through for your 10th place in the B category for the playoffs in the ZRL.
All right, let's take a look at our C's here. We have our first tiebreak, as it looks like Herd Mentality is going to end up on top, tied on 39 points, as TFC Thor ends up in second. Great job to both those teams. RR Grey Woolly Rhinos, the third place squad. Dirty Rascals Affogato in fourth. It's Cryogen Muadahui in fifth. It's Racing Without Borders Serrano sixth. AHDR Commodores in seventh. Evo Core 1/8. Evo Core HP in ninth. And the aforementioned Skaters ending up 10th.
Good to see.
There. So
good
SDW. Yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah, good job on
That's
them.
your C's.
And a lot of the D category have not all of them have finished just as of yet. And since the points go so deep, you have to wait for a lot of the riders to get done out on the day. So you have to head on over to WTRL.racing for the rest of that. Well, that is the season, Dave. Season 3 is on the way in April 5th. Will kick off. Going to be an interesting little bit of an off season here. I think there's going to be a lot of whiteboards being put together to figure out how we're going to take on this next season. It's going to be Road to Ruins out on Watopia. It'll be the first race that'll be taken on 276 meters of climbing. That's an interesting course for sure. We've got the steamroller being used on that with a little bit of dirt out there for a points race. So interesting opener. Is it going to be a points race? Interesting. It says points race, but I'm going to see what's going on there. I'm going to wait for some information from Martin on that side of things. But Road to Ruins, nice one to open up on.
Yeah, that's April 5th that the next season will kick off. So less than a month away before we get things rolling again out there. Congratulations to all of our riders. Again, that's a big commitment. And as Anna was saying, the secret sauce here is in the community and certainly that tight bond that the teams develop out there. So really with great appreciation, we've enjoyed watching you race. You all really put your hearts out there. So rest up. As Nathan said, hopes the recruiting goes well. You can find some good, new, fresh teammates to bring on board. And we'll see you back out there soon.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure to WTRL.racing for all of the official results as they do come in. Everything today was provisional on the broadcast until all verification happens. Make sure to hit those follow buttons as well as comment and like. It does help the channel out a ton. We'll be back at you next week for a chase race and a TTT, and looking forward to Season 3 of the ZRL. Until then, we'll see you out on Watopia or one of the Zwift Worlds riding around with us. Make sure to go get your Tour Watopia stages in. Might be out there hammering away with you as well. And as always, everybody, ride on.
them see your perfect imperfections. Don't hide from bad feeling, 'cause they just want your words. I won't let them take me. No, I won't let them break me. No one on this earth can bring me down. Now I'm standing tall. I won't ever fall. Concentrate on the tightrope. The hope that you make it through to the other side. Be who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Oh, 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 oh. Be who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Oh, 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 oh. Be who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Oh, 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 oh. Be who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Oh, 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 oh. Let them see your perfect imperfections. Don't hide from bad feeling, 'cause they just want your words.